You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where today we have a very special show for a very special format. We're going to be doing our 8-team preview of the 100. Well, it's a 16-team preview, isn't it, really? Because we're doing both the men's and the women's teams for all 8 franchises, clubs, squads, whatever they are. In addition to that, the T20 series between England and Pakistan has just wrapped up, so we'll be doing, a little bit of a match report on those 3 matches. For some reason, England decided to drag the final match out until 10 o'clock, so we're really irritated that we're podcasting now and not 45 minutes ago. Jason Roy, why did you get out? I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined today by Max Roy Brown. Max, are you excited about the 100?
I'm excited that the T20 is over, mainly, after watching the last half of that.
Oh my God, David Milan.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see some superstars take the field in the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ross Legg, how are you doing? And are you looking forward to the 100?
Yeah, I don't know why you're so angry at England's performance in the T20. Mahendra Singh Dhoni says take it deep. How much deeper do you want?
Exactly. Let's, I think, dive straight into the 100 on this one. We don't need any warm-up question. We don't need to talk about Pakistan anymore. That will come later in the show, or if you're watching on YouTube, on another episode. Before, though, we do get into the 100, Ross, you've got 30 seconds. Tell our listeners what they need to be doing right now.
You should like and subscribe to this video. You should follow us at The Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And if you're looking for a cricket bat, go to our sponsor, Woodstock Cricket.
And finally, patreon.com/The Cricket Pod. You can donate to the show directly, or you can get one of the perks that we offer. We've got a new Patreon, Stan Weasler. Thank you so much, Stan. You are the man. Let's...
Not heard that one before.
Yeah, let's get on with the 100 preview then, boys. Max, you said that you would like to briefly introduce the format or explain what the 100 is. Because I guess, half of our listeners aren't from the UK. So maybe they haven't been paying attention to what's going on in the world of the ECB.
Yes, I realised I did actually say that, and that we should do a little preview. Then I forgot to actually write down the bit, but it's all right. We'll do it. We'll do it from the head. The 100, the new tournament in franchise tournament in the UK. 8 franchises based in cities across England and Wales, and they'll be taking part in at first an 8-team league where they all play 4 games, home and away. They'll be playing a game against all of the other teams, and then one of the games, one of the local rival, they'll be playing home and away. Obviously that's geographical.
So they're playing everyone home and away, and then they're playing it again.
They're playing everyone once, Ross,
7 games,
except for their local rival, who they'll play twice.
This is why you write things down, Max. This is why you write things down.
Yeah.
After those games, after all those 32 games, is it? Whatever. There will be a semi-final. Should we just start again?
No, you've got to carry on, mate. This is going so well. There'll be a
semi-final.
Not even
second
called that.
versus
It's called
third.
the Eliminator.
The Eliminator, that takes place at the Oval, and the winner of that gets to play the team who came first in the 8-team group at Lords.
People mocked the ECB for trying to explain the 100 and not always nailing it. And we've just seen there, it's not actually that easy to explain cricket, even to a cricketing audience.
How many balls are there?
Take it easy. Right, this is how our preview is going to work. We are going to run through the teams in the order that Max decided, starting with the Manchester Originals, going through everyone, and then ending with the Northern Superchargers. We're going to take a team each. We're going to talk you through who the team are, what the notable local landmarks for each franchise are, which is a cricket podcast tradition. We've got top players from both the men's and the women's teams, predictions, mottos. We found out they had mottos today, so we didn't want to not talk about mottos.
Oh, we couldn't deprive the listeners of.
Did I say chances of winning? Maybe I said chances of winning. And then the team song that we're suggesting. They don't actually have team songs yet, but we have some.
By the end of this
front.
podcast, they will.
It should be 4 or 5 minutes a team. It's going to be quite lighthearted, I think. As you know, I think the tournament sort of obviously is. It's definitely pitched like that. So let's get into the spirit of it. I think
the London spirit of it.
Exactly, yeah. I think overall we're actually quite looking forward to the tournament. We've got some tickets, or Max maybe doesn't, but I think the rest of us got some tickets. I think the cricket's going to be good fun, and I can't wait to talk about it. So starting with the Manchester Originals, Max, do you want to talk us through franchise one?
Indeed. Fortunately, this is a bit I have written down, so hopefully it will go a little smoother than the first intro. Yes, Manchester Originals. They are obviously based in Manchester, and as the name alludes, once the origin for many things. Manchester. It's where Rutherford first split the atom. It's where three blokes developed the world's first stored computer program, and it was home to the world's first intercity rail line between Manchester and Liverpool. Unfortunately,
is it exclusively the home to that rail line?
Well, it's 50% the home. It is also, well, if you want genuine first, it was also the home to the UK's first light rail network in the tram. That was, I think it was 1992. They got a tram link. So Manchester. It was first to everything.
Original by name, original by nature.
Original by nature. Less original though. Something that came out of Manchester. Unfortunately, it gave us Noel and Liam. So it's not all good. But sorry, Ross. I know you're a big fan.
Is that Noel Edmonds? Is that Noel Edmonds or?
That would be the Gallagher's, Ross. Your favourite band.
Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry.
Manchester Originals. Their kit is one of the classier ensembles with it's a black and dark grey number, but I actually only realised today that the pattern is like the logo. So there's like a tilted M is their logo, and that's actually the pattern on the shirt. It's like a dark grey M overlaid on the top. And they're sponsored by McCoy's. Let's hope that they've moved on from the Man Crisps mantra that used to pepper their advertising in the world of the 100. We'll get onto the cricket now. Big names in the Manchester Originals sides. For the men, they've got Joss Butler. He's their big icon, but obviously he won't be around that much with England playing India. But fortunately for them, they've got the likes of Carlos Brathwaite in reserve, whose ability to clear the ropes with regularity is well known, particularly by Ben Stokes, and should suit the 100 quite nicely. The women's team have got a pretty star-studded bowling lineup. In particular, Sophie Eccleston. She's only 22, but has already played a ton of international cricket and is the youngest woman to take 50 wickets in T20 internationals. So she's a pretty handy person to have in your armory. And supporting her are the likes of Kate Cross and Alex Hartley, who listeners of cricket podcasts may be familiar with from a certain other show. So yeah, lots of high profile players in that department. Their local rival is the Northern Superchargers, so they'll be playing them twice. And in terms of chances, I think for the men, starting with the men. Obviously, they'll miss out a lot on Joss Butler, but they've got some serious batting depth, and particularly like firepower. So obviously, I've already mentioned Brathwaite, but they've got Phil Salt, who we saw in the England C team recently. They've got Colin Munro, Joe Clark, who probably would have been in the England C team, but for misdemeanors. Tom Lammonby as well, who's highly dangerous. And then their bowling's not too bad. They've got Matt Parkinson, Lockie Ferguson, Steve Finn, and Ollie Robinson when he's not with England. So I'm thinking Manchester Originals definitely good for the top three. I think we'll be seeing them at least in the eliminator.
That's a bold call, I think.
Yeah,
definitely good for the top three.
Yeah, I reckon.
I'm looking. I don't know if I rate Steve Finn or necessarily Ollie Robinson as bowlers. Joss Butler's not going to play all the games. Tom Lammonby, young. He did get 100 in about 12 minutes the other day, which is
if he carries on that form. I reckon they're definitely in with a real shout. The women as well actually are also pretty up there. I've already mentioned their bowling attack is pretty classy, but that's backed by some serious power hitting potential. They've got Lizelle Lee, the South African, and also a potential future star in Emma Lamb, who's had a cracking year in the domestic game. So if those two fire, the women's team could go all the way.
Yeah,
who knows?
Right, what's their team song?
Well, we've got to get the motto first.
Motto first. Sorry.
Motto first. Manchester Originals, pioneers, revolutionaries, celebrating a global city of firsts, laughing in the face of limits, raising the bar forever higher. There's your Manchester Originals. And for the team song or the team chant, I haven't gone necessarily particularly creative, but I think you want something easy to remember as your team chart. So how about some iced tea? And if we riff off Original Gangster, you can have MO Original Manchester. Ooh. MO Original Manchester ad infinitum.
That's that
a simple chant. That's what you need.
Simple. You can imagine the party stand.
Yeah, 8 pints down. You don't have to
I don't think it's that kind of tournament, but
no.
yeah. Maybe in Manchester.
We'll see about that.
Right, great. Should we move on to the next team? The Trent Rockets, then. I've got the Trent Rockets. Trent, if you're not aware, is, of course, a river. And it's not just any river. It's the third longest river in Britain. Surprisingly, there aren't that many other notable facts about the Trent. But back in the 17th century, Isaac Walton did describe it as one of the finest rivers in the world. I don't know what Isaac Walton's capacity for travel was back in the 1600s, but clearly he was content to make that pronouncement. I've decided to do the motto earlier in my segment, so you'll get that now, and this is it. Join Trent Rockets for the biggest party in the country. Everyone's invited, so long as you don't mind having the most fun. Volume up, ready for launch.
It's kind of like they've gone in with like like a random word generator on the internet, but like they've just gone let's just put some
positive
really
words only.
It's better than that, Ross. I think it's one of those mottos that's been written by AI.
Ooh. Possibly. Yeah. Anyway, Trent Rockets, they've got Lewis Gregory as captain, the English Dre Russ, they've got Alex Hales, they've got Rashid Khan, they've got a couple of old boys, Luke Wright and Samit Patel. In short, fellas, I think they've got a cracking team. On the women's side of the game, they've got Nat Sibber, they've got Catherine Brunt, they've got Sarah Glenn, who I like, leg spinner, and they have Catherine Bryce, who is the ICC Associates Player of the Decade, despite making her debut in, again, can you guess the year? So the decade 2011 through to 2020, which year do you reckon Catherine Bryce, a Scottish cricketer, made her debut?
2018.
Bang on, Max. Well done. Good knowledge. She averages 11 in international cricket with the ball and 45 with the bat, although that is a little bit slow, that 45. As a medium pacer, that's a pretty good lineup as well. In terms of predictions, I think that team should be there or thereabouts. 20 balls of Rashid Khan, Alex Hales, Lewis Gregory, Luke Wright, Samit Patel, to name, well, just the people I named earlier. They have they have a good team. On the women's side, I think usually in these kinds of tournaments, boys, if you stack your team with good local talent, and now I know this year because a lot of the overseas players aren't going to make it. This is maybe not necessarily true, but I think if you have the best local talent, you usually win. And I think they're up there with the best local talent. And they've kind of been lucky that one of their overseas players lives in Scotland, which is a far easier destination to get to England from than, for example, Australia. So I think both of these sides, I think they could do the double. They I think will be above Manchester Originals anyway, Max. Team song, it's an obvious one, isn't it? Trent Rockets, man. Do 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 do.
Have you got any more words to it?
No, I don't know the words to that song.
Just do.
You could put Trent in front of it, can't you? And
I thought you were going to properly sing that for a second, but never mind.
Yeah, I've got a reason to support them. My reason is if you like Alex Hales and you think he should be playing for England, because it could be quite embarrassing for the England team, I think, if he absolutely plunders the 100. And if you like leg spin.
Like he plunders everything else in English domestic cricket.
Yes. And if you like leg spin, Rashid Khan is absolutely, mega.
10 balls in a row of Rashid Khan's going to be great.
Quite possibly the best player in the tournament. And Sarah Glenn's a pretty handy leg spinner herself. That's Trent Rockets. That's all I've got for you. Any questions?
What are they sponsored by?
No idea. No idea. I didn't know we were doing sponsorship.
Is it a crisp brand?
Hula hoops or something probably.
Fair.
They wear
That is
yellow.
one of them.
They wear yellow.
Skips.
Skips. That sounds like skips. Ross, Birmingham Phoenix, you're next on the list.
Yeah, so Birmingham Phoenix represent Warwickshire and Worcestershire and perform in front of the Eric Hollies stand at Edgbaston. They wear orange and black, but the biggest, most exciting thing about them is that this team are going to write a bit of history, I think, this year. Like many people before, J.R.R. Tolkien has written Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, in Birmingham. He used to live in the south of the city, and the Twin Towers of the book are actually based on the Edgbaston Waterworks, so which is a lovely fact for you. It has more canals in Venice, so continue our Trent into the river, down to the canals into Venice.
It's a very aquatic tournament.
Very aquatic tournament.
Let's hope not.
And it is also the home of a very, very famous TV show. Max, which famous TV show based in Birmingham, written in Birmingham, would you think of?
Peaky Blinders.
Correct. It's the Thomas the Tank Engine. They are sponsored by Butterkist Popcorn. So what more? That already signals it's going to be great to watch.
Yep.
The local rival.
Question.
Oh yes.
How long until they tweet the GIF of Michael Jackson eating popcorn?
I think it's already happened. I think it's already happened.
It's already happened.
I reckon it might happen every day. If they have a good person who puts their social media, that is the only GIF they use the whole way through.
Every tweet.
Their top players, unsurprisingly for our loyal listeners, this squad has Best Western's fingerprints all over it. They've got Intent Machine, Finn Allen. They've got Kiwi Quick, Adam Milne. And then is captained by Moeen Ali. Weirdly, they've got Dom Sibley. So he's kind of like the CSK purchasing of Pajama.
That's not their fault, though, is it?
Yeah, they got allocated him.
Well, yeah. Anyone else?
Through the short straw.
They've also got Chris Wokes and Liam Livingston, so that's not too bad of a lineup. Prediction, I think they'll do well. I think they've got a good lineup. They've got Daniel Vittori leading them. They've got attacking batters throughout their lineup, obviously except for Dom Sibley.
Yeah.
But I think compared to some of the other teams, it's going to be a good battle. I think they've got some potentially inconsistent performers in there, but if they can perform, they've got the talent in that squad.
So two questions for you, Ross. Just while we're at this point. One, do you actually think they'll play Dom Sibley in any game? Yeah.
I'll be amazed if they play him.
Two, and this might be feeding into your predictions bit. Do you think they might be in a bit of trouble because they've got to play Trent Rockets twice?
It's not the best lineup, is it, for them when it comes to the fixture? I do think, though, that they've got those players who can do something. Finn Allen can take the game away from you. It's kind of like that bit, but again, unproven. There's some data-driven picks that we love. So we're going to see. I think they've got a pretty varied lineup as well in terms of their bowling. So I think they do have Imran Tahir, not Imran Khan, Imran Tahir. So we'll see how a 49-year-old does in this limited tournament.
It's less balls for him to be out there, isn't it?
Yeah,
you think actually it would be better for him?
Yeah, and like this, the care home bus driver can actually wait at the ground for him, can't he? So it works out.
It won't run up too much on the meter, will you, in 2.5 hours?
For the women, it's captained by England's wicketkeeper Amy Jones. They have secured the most promising Indian player in Shafali Verma, who recently shone against England. If you remember, she smashed Catherine Brunt for 5 consecutive boundaries and really pissed off the lady who then proclaimed that she was old enough to be her mother. There's also got a couple of spin options in the team, and there's kind of a two-pronged here. We've got the Scottish leg spinner, Abtahar Maksood, who we're going to have to start calling the dentist because she's a qualified dentist, which I think is great. So we'll have to see what she can extract from the Edgbaston.
There we go. There it is.
Thank you very much.
Waiting for that.
Predictions.
It's like pulling teeth, Ross.
They've got a pretty decent chance, I think. If you're looking at some of their bowling attack, they've got pace in there, they've got spin from both sides in terms of left arm and right arm, and they've actually got some high quality batters in the short term with some pretty serious pedigree. So Mary Kelly, Mary Carey, we've got them both there, was the leading run scorer when she led the Warwickshire to the T20 final and the championship. And they also have the future of Indian cricket, right? Verma looks absolutely brilliant. And as John said, pretty decent.
Well,
start.
yeah, you have to say in a tournament that's going to be about hitting boundaries, having the new face of boundary hitting in women's cricket, going to be handy. We'll chalk that up as a win for Dan Weston, I think, or at least until it goes wrong. Anything else for Birmingham Phoenix, Ross? Have we done the motto?
We have not done the motto. The motto is rise with Birmingham Phoenix and thrive together as one, bigger, brighter, and better united. This team is a celebration of strength and diversity because different is good.
It sounds like they've got the offcuts from the Vote Remain campaign. There, I like that they start rise with Birmingham Phoenix. That's classic. Yeah, that's
classic Phoenix.
Maybe they should have just ended there. Who am I to say?
And in terms of their team song, so we've obviously got the captain Moeen Ali. So girls don't like boys, girls like Moeen Ali. That is, we're going to tried and tested crowd pleaser. I did get a suggestion in earlier that said, remember the BNBN adverts? Mm-hmm. Birmingham Phoenix, do Birmingham Phoenix, do.
I mean, that's
I think you're a syllable out there, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then you've also got the main one that they've come up with is from the Beatles, I've Got a Feeling, which is Birmingham Phoenix, Phoenix is my side. Oh yeah, Birmingham Phoenix, the feeling I can't hide. Oh no, yeah, Birmingham Phoenix.
That's like the motto. That's very good. What else do we have? Do we have any reason to support them? I think, have you done your predictions?
I genuinely think that this squad could go either way. I think they are not as strong as Trent Rockets in this regard, but as I said, they've got some decent players who could perform. Short format, short tournament. We'll see what happens. I think the reason to support them is that Edgbaston is probably the best ground in the country. If you like going to watch cricket there, great.
Cool.
Also the biggest Indian star to be playing in England in this tournament. So
yeah, that is true. That's a big one. Right, shall we move on to the next thing, which is Welsh Fire? I'm doing Welsh Fire. Welsh Fire. So I start each. I've got mine laid out in a table, and the first thing, team name, Welsh Fire. So I can't get that wrong.
That's a good place to start.
Basics, yeah. Facts about the area. Well, fellas,
it's a big area to cover.
there are quite a lot of facts about Wales, considering it's a country. I've gone with a really basic one though. I don't want to drag it on too much because I could. More castles per square mile than anywhere else in the world. Everyone knows that. Yep. If you don't, now you do. Motto: spark the Welsh fire, burning bright with intense passion and relentless energy. Their hunger will prove haters wrong. Get ready to feel the heat.
Haters? What haters?
It kind of sounds like someone's trying to write a bit of soft pornography with that.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit. You know, you've got heat, passion, hunger, energy.
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking
fire.
Yeah. I was thinking more straight to DVD B movie.
Yeah, or maybe, it's a poem that a couple in couples counselling have written to each other to try and spark the Welsh Fire. A Welsh couple re-spark the Welsh Fire. Or maybe it's just a load of mumbo jumbo that someone made up and has accidentally been left on the internet and now we find hilarious. You at home decide. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Who have they got? They've got Johnny Bairstow. He's pretty fierce. He's the captain. They've got Tom Banton. That as an opening combo, Bairstow and Banton, has got to get you excited. They've got Glenn Phillips, the Kiwi. I think he could be pretty good. Not a huge profile in the UK yet, but for people who watch cricket abroad or hear about cricket from down under, because it always happens at 3 a.m. or whatever, pretty formidable numbers. Bowling wise, they're pretty thin. They've got Jake Ball, they've got Liam Plunkett, they've got Jimmy Neesham. I'm not sure any of them are particularly terrifying. On the women's side, they've got Sarah Taylor. Max, do you want to say something nice about Sarah Taylor?
Absolutely, she is a complete legend and possibly my favourite wicketkeeper ever. It's just so good to watch. Some of particularly the standing up to the paces, some of the leg side stumpings. Like you could just watch clips of Sarah Taylor wicketkeeping. It's art.
Yeah. In addition to that, they have a player called Sophie Luff, who I'm not sure loads of our listeners will be aware of. We've got an interview with her. We should have led with this at the beginning of the show, but we forgot. We're interviewing Sophie Luff in, I don't know, probably half an hour from now, if you're listening. She scored loads of runs at the level below in domestic cricket without quite breaking into the international team. This is the sort of tournament, I think, that will be really good for players like her, because if you do something, it will happen on TV, it will happen against top quality players, and you'll be able to state that case for a position in the international team. At the moment, because of the way professional contracts are handled in the women's game, there isn't a pool of professionals like there is in the men's game. So breaking into that can be difficult. And one of the great things about the 100, to be honest, is that it should provide the platform for players to be able to go on and do that. Predictions wise, well, let's start with the women, as we were talking about them. Unfortunately, I don't think their team is fantastic. They've suffered probably more than any other team on either side of the gender divide with dropouts. Like they had some really top quality Australians coming over. They had Meg Lanning. Did they have Lisa Healy as well, Ross? I might have got that one wrong, but you had it on some notes earlier that I was reading. So they had Meg Lanning at least, and they had at least one other top Australian. They're not coming now because of COVID, which is a problem. We spoke, as I said, with Sophie Luff. She says they're going to have to scrap for wins. So I think they know that this could be quite difficult, but I would be a little bit surprised if they made the top 3. Predictions for the men. I think they'll be entertaining. I think they could concede the most runs in the tournament, but I also think they could score the most. The only potential spanner in the works, and I teased you that I had a scoop leading into this.
You did.
Yeah, I saw an interview with Gary Kirsten about an hour ago where he said that Johnny Bairstow was due a recall to the England Test team, and they think he will only play 2 matches for them.
What?
Yes.
What?
Like I just said, Gary Kirsten has obviously been told that Bairstow is unlikely to be available for the whole 100. He said Bairstow will be available for 1, maybe 2 matches.
Absolutely brilliant news.
England.
We haven't heard what the England Test team against India will be. We don't know if they're going to bubble it up. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But there are strong rumours, basically, that Bairstow won't be there. And that will mean this team go from theoretical contenders, if it goes well, to maybe the worst team in the tournament from the men's side. Team song-wise, Ross, you came up with this suggestion. It's great. The Welsh are on fire. Your batters are terrified, or the Welsh are on fire. Your bowlers are terrified. It's a classic. Why to support them? I guess if you're from India, the Welsh have a similar obsession with fortified buildings as the people from Punjab or Rajasthan. And more broadly, I guess if you just don't like England, you can support Wales. You can actually support a different team. And that's Welsh Fire. Any questions?
I'm absolutely buzzing that Johnny Bairstow's going to be back in the England team.
Who are they dropping? Who are they dropping?
Zach Crawley.
I
Johnny Bairstow in at 3.
It must be a bubble plan. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll do the preview of that next week, I think. So we're nearly there. But I
could be Ollie Pope. He was injured at the end of the blast.
Right, Max, you've got the Oval Invincibles. So let's rattle through the last 4 and preview the 100 Oval Invincibles.
Right. Oval Invincibles. So the Oval Invincibles are obviously based at the Oval in South London. They are one of the 2 London teams. The Oval, obviously, storied cricket ground, but not just a cricket ground. It's also been a football stadium. It hosted England's first international football match against Scotland in 1870, a thrilling 1-1 draw, England equalising in the 89th minute, and definitely did it did good things for relations between the 2 sides as part of a 5-match series over 2 years between England and Scotland. The Scotland team that day in the first international featured William Henry Gladstone MP, son of the former Prime Minister William Ewart Gladstone. So there's some completely pointless information for you.
I thought you were going to give us some facts about ovals, and I'm a little bit disappointed. To be honest.
Carry on. I can tell you a fact about the station. It's not really a fact, but it is that every time we go through it on the tube as a family, my mum finds it really funny that they say the next station is oval because it's a shape. That's nice, isn't it? That's sweet.
We wonder why he turned out like he did.
We'll move on. The Oval Invincibles will be turning out in a sort of washed out pale green colour, which actually looks a bit like a colour I accidentally bought to paint my bathroom. And it's not great, but never mind.
Doesn't it go with the seats at the Oval? It's kind of that toothpaste green.
Yeah.
That's a way to make it feel like the stadium's full. A bunch of camouflage people.
If you're a particularly aggressive toothbrusher in your bathroom, having walls that look like that would be good, wouldn't it? Because you never have to wash them; it would just all blend in.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nice pro tips with Jack Hope.
Thank you. Yeah, they are sponsored by KP, purveyors of nuts. So let's go nuts for the Oval Invincibles. Big names for the Oval Invincibles in the men's side. Standout has to be Jason Roy, England's explosive opener, who should have stayed in and made us do this.
We'd have finished the bloody podcast by now, wouldn't we?
But sadly, we had to watch David Milan instead. But we know what Jason Roy is all about. He smacks the ball everywhere, and he smacks the ball everywhere from the very beginning. So he should take to the 100 like a duck to water, and I think he will be an excellent man to have, and an excellent foil to Jason Roy will be Will Jacks, who's had a superb T20 blast, striking very quickly. I think over 160 at least, and he'll be looking to take that form into the competition. So they've got a chance to really hit the ground running on the batting side. The women's team have South African marital pair of Danny van Niekerk and Marzian Kapp. And they are pretty fearsome, as England found out the hard way in the last Women's T20 World Cup. So that's a good couple of overseas stars to have, and that overseas lineup is bolstered by further South African pace. And they've also got Georgia Adams at their disposal, who scored stacks of runs in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy. So they've got a reasonably good looking lineup on the women's side. The local rival is London Spirit, so as I will get to, that may benefit them in terms of playing them twice. How far do we think they can go? So they're probably going to be missing Sam Curran for most of it in England on England duty. They've got, you spoke, Jack, about the importance of having a good core of local talent, and I think it's fair to say they do that. They've got quite a good core of the Surrey T20 Blast team, who, when they were actually fit or available, were pretty good. They've got Tom Curran, they've got Reece Topley, Laurie Evans, Will Jacks already mentioned. So, and that's bolstered by Sam Billings and Saqib Mahmood. So the domestic crop there is pretty good. And I think they'll be challengers, but I don't know if they'll quite make it. I don't think they've quite got the same strength as other teams. The women, on the other hand, I think they're a pretty strong side. They've got options with the bat and the ball, and particularly with pace and spin as well. So they've got good options, good variations, and I reckon they could challenge for the top three. The women. The motto for Oval Invincibles: belong to something bigger with Oval Invincibles. vibrant, expressive, and free to play their own way, this team leaves a lasting impression long after the last ball. I'd love to know what that impression is. And I can't wait to find out.
At least that one sort of talks about cricket.
It reads as a coherent sentence.
Yeah.
So that was good.
I like that.
Their team song, finally, / chant. I think this could be good. I reckon we can make this work. And it goes like this. I said, maybe we're gonna win the 100, baby. 'Cause after all, we're invincible.
That's actually good.
Yeah.
It's bad and good, isn't it? But
yeah, that's what we're after, right? Bad and good.
I wonder with the team they've drafted, whether the men's team here, just looking through it, whether it's actually quite clever because they've sort of picked the players that might not make it for England, but are maybe the best of the rest. And Tom Curran. Anyway, should we move on to the next team?
Mm-hmm. Max, I just really appreciate the fact you sang that. Well done.
Yeah, it's Southern Brave, Ross.
It is Southern Brave. So they represent Hampshire and Sussex, playing at the Ageas Bowl. Local facts. So we know that quite a few of our listeners are from the UK, and everyone knows that people from the UK are obsessed with war. And no doubt they'll all be happy to hear that the very first Spitfire flight took place in Eastleigh, Hampshire. Jerusalem, the poem sung aloud by the Barmy Army, was written in Sussex. So can you feel the patriotism coming through from the Southern Brave? And that is all culminated in the very famous Sherlock Holmes, which the very first instalment was written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in Sussex. So
you've got a very literary theme to your facts today.
Wasn't Jerusalem originally a satirical poem that then got repurposed by the government of the day during the war to get to rally the troops?
Well, you can listen to Susie Dent's podcast on Countdown. They're just over on the next channel. Colours, they wear green. Their local rival, Welsh Fire. So good thing there. Their snack is pom bears. If you don't know what a pom bear is, it's a small bear that is made out of fried crisps. Yeah. Fried pom. Let's look at the team. Mihaela Jar-Wardner is leading them from the men's team. They have yet to name a captain because they're feeling a bit edgy. I'm not sure if that gives them any advantage whatsoever. They have big names in this squad. They missed out on David Warner in this one, which is probably a good thing. They have Devon Conway, man of the moment. Quinton de Kock is coming in. They've got a decent England contingent of Jofra Archer, James Vince, Liam Dawson, Tamal Mills, and Danny Briggs. Along with Chris Jordan and Craig Overton. And I think this lineup would have looked even better because they were supposed to have Dre Russ. He's withdrawn. He's
that would have been unfair.
He's withdrawn. But Colin de Grandhomme has stepped up as his replacement. So
like for like, I would say.
And he is slaying it in county cricket at the moment.
Yeah. His mullet has got magical powers, is the rumour. Prediction, they've got a varied bowling lineup. It's a little bit fragile with injuries. So Jofra Archer's just coming back from injury, so it might take a couple of games up to speed. I think he's probably going to be on England duty, but maybe not. They might just let him play the 100. Yeah. Tamal Mills is made of glass, but hopefully he kind of makes it through because him as the left arm bowler could be actually useful for England in the T20 World Cup. And Owen Morgan has said a good performance by him could well put him in that picture. They've got some decent firepower, as I talked about. And people might feel that their squad is a little bit unbalanced, but actually I think with only 100 balls, they don't need to bat so long down the order. And when you've got people like Jofra Archer who could come in at 7, 8, actually they've got a pretty good lineup here. I think they're probably in with a pretty good shout. Actually, I think kind of definitely into the top half of this.
Here's my only problem with this team. They, you can get local icon players. You get 2 or 3 of them. They let Phil Salt go to Manchester and they picked Liam Dawson and James Vince, who I think are significantly less good in this format than Salt. But around that, they have got, I think, the best team on the men's side anyway.
Yeah, it's well-rounded, isn't it? They've got that, talking about that variation. They've got the big hitters in that team. And I think there's a lot of kind of people who do both. They've got those people. Liam Dawson's a pretty good bat. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. On the women's side, Charlotte Edwards is leading those, and her kind of progression from a great player to a great coach has been pretty smooth. Talk about a big name lineup for Southern Brave. They have current West Indies skipper Stephanie Taylor, Indian legend Smriti Mandhana, both who have held the title as best female cricketer. Which goes quite a long way. So you're going to be pretty good if you're wearing that. Along with England World Cup hero Shrubsole and two-time T20 100 hitter Danny Wyatt. So there's some good players in that lineup. I think
herself just back into form at just the right time, didn't she? With that third T20.
But big name players can mean big performances, but it also can mean big pressure. But I think there is a lot of firepower in this team. I think they've got a pretty good lineup. I think they've got kind of 5 or 6 really strong players, and I think that is more than some of the other teams have in the competition. I reckon these are probably first or second in the women's area at this point.
Did you do the motto?
I've not done the motto yet.
Well, you should do the motto and then do the song, and then we'll rattle through the last 2 because it's going on for longer than we hoped.
Follow Southern Brave and go boldly where others shy away. Endlessly curious with an insatiable appetite for adventure. What's over the horizon? ?
Star Trek. It's big Star Trek vibes there.
So again, I'm getting kind of Pina Colada vibes from that as well. Like they're kind of the song.
Star Trek crossed with Pina Coladas.
Is that the song you're going for?
Is not the song. I've actually I was struggling with Southern Brave, I must admit. So I've gone to the best chant and the only chant in rugby. It's because it's the only chant. It's the best chant. But it's also the worst chant. So it's swing loads, swing Southern Brave. Come on, bring the trophy home. Swing loads, swing Southern Brave. Come on, bring the trophy home.
That works, doesn't it? Yeah, it's at least as creative as the rugby boys.
In a manner of speaking.
Yeah. Right, Max, we're on to the final straight here. We've got London Spirit, followed by Northern Superchargers. You are London Spirit. Tell us about London Spirit.
Indeed, London Spirit. So the other London side, they are based at Lords. And that team name, I believe, is named after the spirit of cricket. Lords, home of cricket, home of the spirit of cricket, home of the world's oldest sporting museum and a famous 2.5-meter slope, obviously. Such is the obsession with said slope. When it hosted the archery at the 2012 Olympics, many actually wondered whether it would affect the archers. I don't know if it did. I'm not sure anybody minds.
Could they not just build a little pedestal for the archers?
Go and fire up the hill. Yeah.
Just
good.
like prop them up a bit.
Better idea. Put targets round Lords and let's see what can happen. But anyway.
Is that a better idea?
Well,
let's hear Max's thoughts.
We'll leave the archery, shall we? The important thing is that the good egg and bacon members of the MCC have made sure that you can always bring your booze into Lords, the only international cricket ground in the world where you can bring in your alcohol for the test match and indeed the 100. So this makes Lords an early candidate for home of the 100 piss up if you don't want to hold it anywhere else. The London Spirits wear quite a fetching blue. And as snack brands go, they've got one of the classier sponsors. So they are sponsored by Tyrrell's. And that was no doubt mandated by the aforementioned members who could bear to conceive of the 100 as an actual thing. You know, it's like, all right, look, we don't want the 100, but if we are going to have the 100, let's at least be sponsored by Tyrrell's, not some rubbish like Skips. That's I imagine how the conversation went in the long run.
They could have gone for like a blue ribbon. That would have been very classy.
Ooh, that's a throwback. But it's not crisp, is it? That's the thing. Right, big names. Big names in the squads. The men's side have England's white ball captain Owen Morgan, and that's good. Maybe maybe he will be the first one to get his head around the concept of the 100. He could be the man who leads the 100 revolution and knows how the game's supposed to go from the start. Who knows?
Has he bought Nathan Lemon in his backpack?
Probably. Did you see today they were doing the signs in the Pakistan game? They're doing the signs thing again.
Oh,
instead of being like yeah, it is kind of unfair that we just ask our computer what to do. They were like, the reason we have to do it is because Owen Morgan's memory isn't long enough to remember the matchups, so we have to put them up so that he knows what the matchups are. So there's two things going on here.
That's what I'm saying.
Owen Morgan is a goldfish, or there's a bit more to it than that. I don't know. It's carry on.
Okay, so perhaps Owen Morgan won't be the man to bring us 100, the 100 revolutionaries. He might be the man to forget that he's playing the 100 and actually think it's a test match. What was he doing today?
It was a joke about memory.
Yeah.
That. Very good. The women, we'll move on. The women, they have England duo Tammy Beaumont and Heather Knight. So that makes for a pretty strong top order. Big fan of that. Also in the London Spirit side is Mohammed Amir. He's back in England. Ross, what do you make? I know you're a big fan of his partner in crime, Salman Butt. What do you make of Mohammed Amir?
I think Mohammed Amir was taken advantage of at a young age, and I think the spirit of cricket is to forgive and forget people around that. But Salman Butt could crawl back into the hole he came from and never ever rise out of it again.
Always nice to get Ross to say something about Salman Butt. So yes, they have Mohammed Amir. So that'll be good to see him back, maybe. And he could prove tricky actually at Lords. He had a really good World Cup in 2019. So he's one to look out for.
Make a bit of money out of it as well.
Yeah. They might get confusing though with which ball to bowl if it's a new format,
No, it's okay. Nathan Levin will just hold up a sign. We'll be like, I can do it this one.
That's the one, right? Yeah. The women's side also welcomed Deepti Sharma, who, as we recently saw, is a dab hand at running people out with a back heel. So hopefully Heather Knight's forgotten that one and can put any former run outs aside. Their local rival, as I mentioned, is the Oval Invincibles, and I think that may play into the hands of the Oval Invincibles because the men's side, in particular, the batting is not exactly full of power hitting, and they're probably going to be without a few key players for quite a lot of the tournament. So their batting lineup's got Dan Lawrence, Zach Crawley, and they've also got Mark Woods. So I mean, they're not going to play. And even if they were playing, like Dan Lawrence and Zach Crawley aren't exactly the guys that you'd think of immediately when you want someone to clear the ropes, and they don't really.
No, I'm serious. Crawley's a good player in T20.
Well, they won't have him, so never mind. But I mean, yeah. Aside from that, they're actually pretty thin on the ground. They've not got a whole lot backing up. I mean, they've got Mohammed Nabi as their overseas star.
How does he keep getting picked?
You're not selling him, Max.
No, I mean, they've got a few guys away. I think they might actually have to get their coach Shane Warne out of retirement to step in at some point because
he'd fucking love that.
I did have them penciled in, quite thick penciled in as rock bottom. But if Johnny Bairstow is not going to be playing for Welsh Fire, maybe they'll sneak seventh. But I think it's a shootout between those two for the bottom place. The women, their batting's pretty good. They got Beaumont and Knight, as I mentioned, but I think overall they're looking a little light. I think they'll be good for a few wins, but I think mid-table is probably where we'll be looking with them. So I think London Spirit are looking for a pretty inauspicious tournament all round, which is a real shame for the home of cricket, but never mind. Their motto: London Spirit is an iconic team for an iconic city, rooted in tradition and lighting the way to the future with a unique ability to conjure something special. That's just a lot of words on a page.
It kind of sounds like when you do like a tour bus ride around a new city, that kind of feels like there's just the repeatable voice memo that goes across while they're trying to entice people in.
In some sort of weird dystopian future. Finally, their team song / chant, I've taken the liberty of adjusting the words to a famous song that contains the word spirit, and it goes like this: load up on runs and bowl your friends, run in from the pavilion end. With Knight and Morgs, a win's assured, pack up your booze. Head down to Lords. London, 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 Spirit. London, London.
That's the best one. That's the best one.
That's a good one. Yeah. If they win this, you're performing that live
at Lords.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
We'll speak with our contacts to get that to work. Are we ready for the Northern Superchargers?
All ready.
Yes.
Mate.
Yeah, right. So the Northern Superchargers, that's the name of the team. They're based at Headingley in Leeds, which is the North. Facts about the North. Well, famously, it was featured in hyper-realistic fashion on HBO series Game of Thrones. The North is a cold, inhospitable place full of horrible men with some even more suspect things to be found beyond its northern border, if you believe it even has one. Motto. Step aside for Northern Chargers, a team whose drive and determination is matched only by their desire to win. Powered by positivity and people who get stuff done when every ball counts. I think that's a bit presumptuous. I think they should have gone with, and I was thinking about the team song, Superchargers go ballistic, your bowling's atrocious. That would have been good. Yeah, that would have been better than their motto. Key players on the men's side of things. Well, it's all about spin here. They've got Adil Rashid, they've got Majib, they've got Callum Parkinson, the left-armed Parkinson, which gives them serious potential to put the brakes on teams, albeit that Headingley might not be the best wicket to do that on. Around them, they've got Bryden Cass, they've got Adam Lyth, they've got Faf du Plessis. In short, a pretty decent side, possibly without like the really explosive hitters that we think will be good in this tournament. I mean, one of the interesting things about the 100 is we've got literally no idea how to win it beyond being like.
I reckon it's going to be hitting some boundaries, though.
I mean,
but a fairly good shout.
It's hard to say. I mean, like spinners bowling less balls. So spinners, I think in T20 cricket, they always get the easy gig, 7 overs through to 13 overs when the other team's just like, oh, we'll take a single there, we'll take a single there. And then you get guys who I think are pretty average white ball spinners with like economy rates of 7. And the reason they have an economy rate of 7 is because they're doing the easy thing. If you take out a big chunk of those easy overs to bowl, I don't know, like a Majib and Callum Parkinson still going to be good bowlers. I'm interested to see. That's one of the things that I think the 100, we don't know that yet. On the women's side, Lauren Winfield Hill, Laura Wolfart, which I believe is the South African pronunciation of that name, are the two big players. Their problem, similar to the men, I think, will be they've got a bit of a lack of firepower batting-wise. Neither of them strike particularly quickly, and they don't have a lot else. They're interesting. They've got quite a few capped players for England, but I think I was looking through earlier, I think 3 or 4 of them haven't played for 3 years, which the way the women's game has developed in England anyway is quite a long time. So I'll be interested to see how some of those players get on. Predictions wise, I think the women are going to struggle. I think they will be one of the poorer teams in this tournament. The men, I think they'll do okay. That spinner point, is in the balance. But I think if it matches what happens in T20s, then having lots of quality spinners will be a good thing, and they do have that. Team song. I haven't got any lyrics, but I think you could get Super Trooper, the ABBA song. I think you could change that to Supercharger. I don't know where you go after that, or the other one, I've written down some lyrics here. It's to Superstition, the Stevie Wonder song. Northern Superchargers, something about the ball. I haven't decided what yet. Northern Superchargers, something about the ball. Northern Superchargers, they make cricket cool.
Yeah, nice. So I think the same person who's written the mottos has also started going on the lyrics.
Rumbled. Why to support them? I don't know. I didn't write anything down here. Apparently, I hate the North. Tweet at us at the Cricket Pod, fellas. Let's make a quick prediction for who we think will win this tournament, and then we will wrap up part 1 of the show. Take a quick break. Ross,
I'm going to stick with my boys, Southern Brave.
Max?
I think it's going to be Trent Rockets, man.
I'm torn between Trent Rockets, but I think Southern Brave. I think they're going to get Jofra Archer, aren't they? They're going to fluke Jofra Archer for
that could
all
happen.
10 games, and that will be a big difference. But I do think Trent Rockets are pretty good. Just a quick reminder, find us at The Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to our content. There'll be loads more 100 stuff. There'll be loads of India v England stuff. Head over to patreon.com/The Cricket Pod and become a Patreon. Thank you to Stan Weasler, our most recent Patreon. We're going to take a quick break and we will be back with England v Pakistan.